Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice.
There's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice? Warm water, baby. It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is a Saturday afternoon. Mike Tipton hanging out with Brandon the Iceman Cone. We're over here at Thorin's Tavern, 3390 Rich Beem Boulevard on the far east side. I'm sorry I made you drive all the way out here. Far east side of El Paso. We are on the corner of Rich Beem and Zaragoza. We got a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about today. We've got UTEP talk we're going to get to. We've got the Dallas Cowboys. These disappointing Dallas Cowboys. We have some Aaron Rodgers stats that I want to see if you've heard these before. And then later on during the Prep1 segment, we're going to have Coach Rudy Contreras from the from Del Valle High School. He's going to join us, talk about Del Valle, their big win that they had yesterday as well. And we got a lot of stuff that we're going to get to. Brandon, how are you doing today?
I am great. I mean, it's another beautiful Saturday. I'm with my buddy. You're the only person I would schlep this far for, but it's nice to be back. It's not 110 in the shade today. Cooling down a little bit. I was worried I was going to have to wear like a cape or something to protect myself from the sun, but good job in finding us some shade because I don't tan, I burn.
The last time we were here, the sun was like the level in Super Mario where it was just attacking us, coming right after us. It was a bad booking by me, but we are here in the shade. It's nice today. They've got 7 TVs on at this moment right now. We got all kinds of college football going on, and later on today, Brandon, the UTEP Miners at 3:00 are going to be taking on the Colorado State Rams. That's going to be on HBO Max Sports. Our friend Mike Golick Jr. is going to be on the call on that one, so I'm going to be looking forward to listening to that, watching that, and seeing how all that goes as well. Brandon, they're bad.
Oh yeah. It just
I can't put the lipstick on a pig.
If you put a lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. We knew it was coming. We knew we couldn't get too excited for too long. And inconsistency. If you look at that word in the dictionary, there's a big star. The Dallas Cowboys. We thought they were fool's gold in the beginning, and I'm sure they'll fool us again and take care of business this week, and then next week go back to being shit against the Giants. So yes, they just can't seem to be good for that long, and that to me is the definition of failure, unfortunately.
Let's talk about UTEP.
Oh. Don't even get me started about UTEP. Jeez, man, are you kidding?
I just feel like you need to have. Oh my God! So I said UTEP football is going to be playing, and I said, Brandon, I can't sugarcoat it. They're bad.
And I feel that you were also talking about Cowboys, but yes, UTEP football is terrible. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just watching this Texas.
They only say racist quarterback is being paid $60 million.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
A few thousand, but like they're bad. I mean, they're bad. Are they any better right now? No, than they were last year. No, not so far. I mean, if you love energy and enthusiasm and people jumping up on sidelines and getting everybody all jacked up to possibly lose again, then hey, you know what? That's okay. But yeah, it's they're a work in progress. But yes, they are not good at all. It's not been pretty. There's nothing positive I can say right now, unfortunately, about that or the club.
And the thing with UTEP is, there's a part of me that's like, look, let's keep it competitive. We had that one game where they were competitive against Southern Utah, where it really could have gone either way.
Yeah.
The early parts of the game against Liberty, it seemed like maybe we can keep it close. We spoke last week that as long as they keep it within 17. You said 2 touchdowns. I think I talked you into 17. We found our nice medium there. They lose by 18.
Right. Hey,
they were right there. They're on the cusp of it.
There.
They're not letting us down the way that they're used to letting us down.
Right. And look, I will say Nebraska, they lost yesterday to Illinois. By the way, Dana Demo is part of that staff, doing great. Illinois is 4-0 for the first time since like the early 2000s, I think. But anyways, they lost to what turned out to be a decent ranked Nebraska team now. On the road, that's going to be a loss, okay? So no problem there. But the last couple have been pretty ugly, and the one against Southern Utah was absolutely inexcusable, in my opinion. The last one, you played a favorite in CUSA, and the team that should have beat you, they beat you. But they're not being competitive at all, unfortunately, and that's what we asked them for, and we're not getting it, right?
And that was kind of my thing is like I'm looking at these scores. I'm like, okay, it doesn't look as bad, right? And then me, I like doing the averages and all that stuff. So I do the math here. UTEP scoring 13.6 points a game.
Yeah.
Right. That's not going to get it done at any level. Like even if you're in high school and you've got two teams that are with a wing T, 13 points are not going to get you a win at any level at all. And then defensively, they're giving up 31.6 points a game. So on average, they're losing by almost 3 touchdowns, keeping it at that 18-point mark. But we have to remember here, within that is a 3-point loss. Just a 3-point loss to a team that they should have beaten
at home.
And then now we're going into Colorado. That's going to be a game that, again, great broadcast. That's a team that's going to look to bounce back following the loss that they had last week to Colorado,
Right.
their in-state rival. This game, to me, can get bad quick.
Fast, yeah.
But then I look at the remaining part of the schedule for UTEP. Sam Houston, I thought that was going to be a win. That's a toss-up for me. New Mexico State, that's a toss-up for me. There's one team on there that I wasn't expecting to see in November, which is Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that is a 6th-ranked team in the country, and they are going to run shop on us.
Yes.
It feels like all I want from this team now, I don't care if we get a win. If we go winless this season, I am fine with it. Let's be competitive. But
Yes,
just that. We had the one game, but that's a team you should have beaten. You should have housed that team. They came in here talking all the mess that they wanted to talk, and they delivered. Not us. They delivered. They came in here, beat UTEP at UTEP's home stadium. Now UTEP just seems to have their back up against the wall again, and I get it. And Dave and I were talking about this earlier. Transition season, right? New coach, new this, new that, 47 transfers that came in, all kinds of things that are surrounding the UTEP Miners on this football program right now. But the expectation to me has now moved from let's get maybe 3 wins, because I don't think that's happening, to let's just not lose in an embarrassing fashion. Let's keep it within 10.
So you can demonstrate your team's potential.
Yeah, because one of the biggest issues that everyone had with Kugler in that winless season that he had was those games on average were being lost by 28 points.
Yes.
You're losing by 4 touchdowns each game. You know how hard it is to lose by 4 touchdowns each game? Especially in Conference USA.
Yeah.
If it was against like the Power 5 teams and stuff like that, I'd get it. But Conference USA is pretty equal when it comes to talent availability.
Well, not with UTEP, though. I mean, they don't usually aren't as good as the other teams at CUSA, and those teams aren't that good. But, I mean, admittedly, their schedule has set them up for failure so far. Let's be honest. I mean, in terms of 2 of your first 3 games, you play Liberty, you play at Nebraska, Colorado State. So, on purpose, some of these are money games. Obviously, you have to benefit the program, make the money, get your ass kicked. That's the way it goes. But then, like we mentioned, the games where you at least should be competitive in, a la Utah State, you're not, which is why that's so disappointing, because you're not able to really showcase any improvement at all from last year, despite the different offensive philosophies, despite the new coaching staff, despite all the changes that have been made. And that's alarming. Let's call it what it is. And you could only hope that as the season progresses and they start to play more conference games, that maybe they're more competitive and maybe they can get 1 or 2 wins. But at this point, I don't know.
I'm going to be interested to see this upcoming game, Colorado State minus a miracle. You're 0-4 staring that down the barrel, right?
No doubt.
I'm going to be interested to see what happens that next week versus Sam Houston.
Sure.
What the crowd is going to be like, because that's going to be our first game back following the loss to Southern Utah and being at the end of this 0-4 streak. All of us could have said 1-3, we'd be happy, right? Because you knew maybe Liberty's going to get a win. Best case scenario, you're 2-2.
Right.
But 0-4, I don't think anyone really, and I can't even say that with confidence, because I think people thought that was a possibility as well, given what we've had with this team in the past. What's the crowd going to be like? What is the buy-in going to be like from the city? Because I love Scotty Walden's intensity.
He's great.
I love the fact that he's energetic, that he to me screams college football coach. You know what I mean? And that to me is gonna wear off then eventually.
Sure.
Because you can be raw guy all you want, but you know what you also got to do? Produce.
Yeah.
And if you ain't doing that,
you if you're not doing that, then it doesn't mean anything. Now you can sell a program, you can try and convince people that this program is going to be superior. And again, I could try and sell you a plate of crap and persuade you it's gold, right? But it's actually about showing everybody what the product is, because everybody's going to read through your BS real fast if ultimately you don't end up producing, or at least we talked about it being competitive, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
the bottom line is that, it's a situation where I love the energy and I love the enthusiasm, but there's just so much more to this game than just the energy and enthusiasm. That looks very good.
Once again, we're over here at Thorin's Tavern. The last time we came, we did fall in love with the hot dogs. The hot dogs were amazing over here. That's what Thorin's has. That's their specialty, are these hot dogs. This is the Thorin dog, or the Tavern dog. Sorry, Tavern dog. TH in the Tavern there, so it threw me off a little bit. The Tavern dog right here, and it's got brisket. It's got, all kinds of goodness on it, Brandon. It looks absolutely amazing. We are going to share this here in just a couple of seconds. But out here at Thorin's Tavern, they got great specials all the time. Yingling, $3 all the time. They got $3 Coronas and Premier Pints, $2 or $2.50 shots as well, and they got the $3 paletas and rumplements as well. Brandon, not a big fan of rumplements, but if you're telling me it's $3, I'm a happy guy with it.
That's all you had to say, that you got a rumplemint for me. I don't even know what the hell a rumplemint is. A rump. Is it like a liqueur?
It's a liquor, yeah.
Okay. Well, you have taught me the art of drinking, more like different. You've kind of opened up my palate, so now I know exactly.
Now I feel like a terrible friend.
You're actually a good friend. Usually I'm so drunk I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what makes me a good friend.
Right? That's why I love you. You know what I mean? I don't know any better. I'm either a schmuck or, it's like. Oh, God.
So our miners, once again, looking at like 0-4 minus a miracle. I'm going to be tuned in just because I'm going to be supporting my guy, Mike Golick Jr. Again, he's going to be on the call for Max Sports.
Great guy. We had him on the show.
Yes.
Ago.
Friend of the show. We were trying to get the schedules working, but because the game kickoff is in less than 3 hours, he's at the stadium right now getting his work in, and I am not going to interrupt that process.
I know you have a birthday party, but you're going to try and check any of it out on your phone? Or
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm one of these people, like, whenever I set my mind, I'm going to actually do it. I downloaded Max on my phone.
Me too. Yeah.
Going to be at a birthday party at Peter Piper Pizza. Maybe it'll be on the TVs. I doubt it, but.
Yeah. I mean, it's just me, or we have to have like 50 different things to watch football nowadays. Is it like Hulu and Max and Plus and this shtick and that shtick? What happened to regular TV, dude?
And that's the thing, right?
It's like, gone, no?
You can still get these games for the most part.
Well, yeah,
other than Amazon,
yeah.
right? Other than the Amazon game, all the rest of them, like, and now to me, it's like, okay, and maybe we've reached this level in our lives where we're get off the lawn guys now. We're in our 40s.
Yes.
Despite the fact I look like I've aged like a gallon of milk.
You age like bread. You look good. Who dug you up? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Me and the guy from Hocus Pocus, we both came out of the grave at the same time.
Hey, Halloween's coming up soon. You know what I mean? It's like
year-round costume that I got going on for you, boy.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it now. It's like, okay, whenever I cut the cord, all that stuff was more affordable. Now I'm like, it's basically the same price.
Cable.
I'm just gonna go back and get whatever it was that I had. I had
cable. I got rid of cable a year ago, and I don't miss it. I really don't. I stream a lot of stuff. I find stuff. I mean,
I think the thing that frustrates me, and once again, maybe this is just a me thing, and I know no one out there really cares about it, is, and I don't know if your Hulu does this, but it'll have that weird random pause.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, you're getting alerts about what's happening in the game.
Yeah.
10 to 20 seconds before it shows you on the game. And then what I do is I normally have 2 TVs in the living room, so that way I can watch multiple games at a time. I take notes because I am that kind of nerd.
Right.
And I'll look at one of them, and then I'll be watching the Cowboys game over here, and then I'll see the replay of what is about to happen in the Cowboys game on CBS or something like that. It's like, okay, Hulu, let's get it together.
Yeah, let's get it together. You're charging us. We already have to watch those godforsaken ads, but unless you want to pay $10 for a month, no thank you.
Well, I mean, even then, like, I mainly watch sports,
right?
And we're gonna get the ads no matter what.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So you might as well watch them either way.
Yeah,
some of them are.
Either that, or you get like just the blank like ad is happening right now.
Yeah.
That ESPN Plus
Who
does.
doesn't love that? I'm like, what the hell is this? At least show me a cup of coffee or something to make me happy.
Your show will start soon.
Yes. This will come back in 20 minutes. Go do some laundry or something.
More news coming out of the UTEP front. Their men's and women's basketball teams, they will be kicking off their season November 4th. That's a Monday. UTEP will be taking on Sul Ross State University. You know we got nothing but love for our friends over to Sul Ross State. Keitha Adams and the UTEP women's basketball team will have their tip-off against Tarleton State at 11 o'clock a.m. Brandon, there's a part of me that wants to take that Monday off just so I can go support the UTEP basketball team.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, why not? And, you know, I met with my dear friend Jerica Hughes. He's the assistant women's basketball coach, and she's one of the greatest women's basketball players we've ever had in this city, a Hall of Famer. And we met recently to talk shop about basketball, and she says the program's looking good, a lot of great recruits, and I feel that they're going to do wonderfully this year.
And Keitha and Jerica, they have high standards. So if they're saying it looks good, then they're not lying to us like some programs.
Second year back. So
yes.
Jerica's second year under the helm, and Coach Eva's there. And so, yeah, program always takes care of business eventually, right?
There's a part of me that wonders, especially with Keitha, if there's ever, and I don't think she's the type of person that has regrets on things, but if there's ever a thing of like, man, I should have never left El Paso.
You know, I think that yes and no. And I say that because I was there for 6 years, and most of those years, I think 4 of the 6 were with Keitha, right? And I feel that she had an amazing thing. She was like, you know, a big fish in a small pond, which is really something unique about that. But then I think that part of her, you know, as a coach, felt maybe unfulfilled that I got the opportunity to go back home to coach a bigger program. And she was playing against UConn when they first joined the AAC and all that. And, you know, so I say yes and no. I say I'm sure she missed it here, and she missed the fact that maybe winning was easier here. But then at the same time, hell, she got to go home. She got to play against bigger opponents. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. So, you know, it was kind of like one of those, I'll try it, but I'm glad I came back maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But she did a lot here when she was here, too.
Yeah,
so.
and that's my thing is like, where could the program have been? Sure. And it was still decent.
You know, they made some runs.
Yeah.
You know, in WNITA 1 year or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But we can't live in the what if. We got to live in the what is now. Also, UTEP volleyball, they have a game that's going on right now against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So good luck to the UTEP women's minors that are out there doing some amazing things. That volleyball team last year, man, the run that they went on at the end of the season, it was so much fun being there. The atmosphere is phenomenal. Our friend Monica Thomas, she's the MC that's out there all the time. She's doing a great job over there as well. So we're giving nothing but love to UTEP right now. But remember, UTEP versus Colorado State on Max Sports. Mike Golick Jr. is going to be on the call. That starts at 3 p.m. However, countdown to kickoff with John Teicher with our friends over at 600 ESPN El Paso. That starts at 2 o'clock today. And I'm going to be listening into that just to kind of see what the spin's going to be. Yes. I always love to hear, because John's such a positive guy.
Yes.
I always want to hear like what the outlook is there. I'm not at the game, so I don't get to see you know, the behind the scenes stuff, and it'll be nice for a little bit of insight there to kind of see what's going on with this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, John, he does his best to get everybody jacked up and excited, and rightfully so. And you know, I also like to listen to that local aspect of it. Gives me something, but I'll watch your boy Golick Jr. as well, see how he sounds. And I'm glad you reminded me it's on Max, because I'll check that out for sure now.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is I think this is going to be one of the first couple of games that's on Max. I don't know if Max has had a live broadcast, but yeah, whenever I saw the logo, I was like, wait a minute, that's not Peacock. No. That's not Amazon. That's not CBS.
This isn't ESPN Plus. That's not Hulu.
ESPN Plus. Get your broadcast better in El Paso. Please, for the love of God.
Give me a break. I
yes.
feel like hiding.
Yes, 100%.
I feel like hiding. That's all I have to say.
The first 20 minutes of the show has sounded like two old curmudgeons. And we're going to keep it going that way. Brandon mentioned it a little earlier about the Dallas Cowboys, how disappointing they were against the New Orleans Saints.
Yes.
This game against Baltimore, I'm taking this as a loss already.
Yeah, Baltimore's desperate for a win.
You couldn't stop the run.
Dallas can't stop the run. They got 2 runners.
And you got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
You're screwed.
You're
screwed.
The only thing I guess is Baltimore's defense doesn't really seem to be that good this year.
No, they're not. They're not defense.
Yeah.
So certainly Dallas can actually get their shit together and play the way we saw them, week 1 against Cleveland. Then perhaps they could be a competitive game. But I still think this could definitely be a loss. I just didn't like the way they played last week. They got completely dominated. I mean, if you can't stop the run, you're going to have a lot of problems, man. That was one of their biggest problems last year, was the inability to stop the run.
Well, and that's the thing, right? We go back to last year, the way that last season unceremoniously ended, the last 2 home games. for the Dallas Cowboys have been them just getting slapped around at teams that can run the ball. And I don't think we all knew Alvin Kamara was a good running back. I don't think any of us thought it was going to be to that
Made him
level.
look like a Super Bowl MVP last week.
And it
man.
wasn't just him, because the second they got a lead and they said, okay, well, now we can do whatever we want, they started picking on that defense. And, man, I love Trayvon Diggs. I love the defense the Dallas Cowboys have, but if you can't get to the quarterback and they've got all day to pick on you, I don't know if New Orleans is one of those like legit teams. Maybe they're just hot at the right time to start the season. But if they can play like this, that's a good team.
It is. And Carr, their new offensive coordinator seems to be able to make wonders with the weapons, and they do have a lot of weapons. And, of course, they do have a good ground game. And I've always liked Derek Carr. I mean, you take any quarterback that seems mediocre in a crappy system and put them in a different system, that could be a game changer. Look at Baker Mayfield, what he's doing in Tampa Bay. But absolutely their defense is still solid. New Orleans defense is traditionally solid the last few years. So to me, that's a team that you're going to have to contend with in the NFC. I know it's been a couple games. It's a small sample size, but hey, so far, if I'm a Saints fan, I'm buying in.
I was hate watching Falcons versus Eagles.
Dude, what a game.
And I wanted so bad, because you know me, I'm a hater. I wanted Philadelphia to lose.
Me too.
And I'm looking at that score, and I'm like, there's no way. It's Kirk Cousins in a primetime game.
Yeah, he's lost 4 in a row.
Yeah,
right?
like there's no way in hell. I mentioned Philadelphia. David comes running over here. I think it's just getting the water. I don't know what's going on here.
It's thirsty.
But-
He doesn't have any water.
But the fact of the matter is I'm watching this game, and the whole time I'm just thinking to myself, they're really going to allow, especially that last drive, they're going to allow Kirk Cousins to just do whatever he wanted against
That was impressive.
And then to see Drake London, who I have in fantasy,
Me too.
and
So inconsistent.
I needed him to get me a touchdown.
Yes.
He gets me a touchdown. I win
So
one
you
league.
won last year, right? You won
Last week, yes. I won in one league, and then I checked the next one. I was going against Drake London. And that, to me, made me think to myself, I'm never going to play fantasy football again. But watching the Philadelphia Eagles, and I don't know if this is the right way to go, because I don't want to sound like I'm defending Nick Sirianni.
Sure.
The way that game changes is you throw a pass to Saquon Barkley. He drops the pass on fourth or on third down,
Yes.
which causes the clock to stop.
Right. That was
Everyone's saying that was not the right play, but it was.
yes.
Saquon needs to catch that ball.
Right, and he didn't.
The fact that like it was everything was ran the way that it should have been ran.
But I mean, again, you should have just ran it. Why
Yeah.
risk stopping the clock?
Yeah.
That's to me a coaching error. You know what I'm saying? Because Saquon is blowing it up the whole game, doing what he's done the first couple of games. Don't deviate away from what's been working. And I mean, sure, you know, 9 times out of 10, that's a safe, secure little running back screen, whatever. But come on now, you're trying to kill the clock and end the game. Don't be foolish and do that kind of a move. I'm sorry, I didn't agree with that at all. You know.
And to me, like, I guess that's where I am, right? Like, I'm kind of torn between these things, because to me it was a good play call.
Yeah.
You can't say it wasn't a bad, like you can't say it was a bad play call, because Saquon should have caught that ball.
Sure.
Like there was
his drop.
There
It
was
his
nothing
drop.
difficult about that.
It wasn't a bad throw. It was his drop.
But again, the decision making comes on the coach, and whenever you've got a guy like Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley, you let him run that ball, especially if you got lead. And I guess the mindset is like, we wanted to get the first down, because if we get the first down, that's the end of the game. Blah 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 blah. We gotta, you know, if we kick a field goal, that still forces them to have to score a touchdown.
Sure.
But my whole mindset with this thing, man, is Nick Sirianni just seems to time and time again make very dumb mistakes at the end of the game.
He does, and that's part of the reason why he's on the hot seat. And
Okay.
ultimately, you know, you have a good organization. You have a team that is capable of starting off as hot as they did last year, and of course they crumbled down the stretch like a clay statue. But yes, I mean, if you're going to continue to make stupid calls like that, your days are definitely going to be numbered in Philadelphia, especially considering the fan base is so adamant.
You know where it
And I
is?
know you would agree with this about
Yes.
having a winning team every single year and being a Super Bowl contender, especially with the players they have. They're not going to put up with that crap.
That's right. And if you're a Philadelphia player, you know how high the highs can get when you're good. But the second one thing goes against you, all hell breaks loose.
I mean-
and you wish you weren't in.
Would they fire their coach a year after he won the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Peterson?
yeah, Doug Peterson.
Like
And,
a year, right? One year after or something like that. That's crazy, man.
and that's been the thing with Philadelphia that I think is hard to overcome is since they made that Super Bowl run where they lost to Kansas City 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You're on your third offensive and defensive coordinator. And you can't have sustained success with that. And as Dallas Cowboys fans, we know what Kellen Moore brings to the table. He's okay, but he also makes a lot of dumb mistakes.
He does, but he can also be really good. He can also utilize
Yeah.
talent well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it has been hit and miss at times with him, no
Yes.
doubt. And I mean, it's interesting to see how. Now, granted, they don't have AJ Brown, which sucks. He's my fantasy receiver. He's the second consecutive week that he's out. You know, with the hamstring. And dude, there's a lot of players out. No, we're losing a lot of players like fast, like early.
Well, that again, and once maybe it's the old man in me type thing, but if you're not going to allow the players to have intense practices, then their bodies are not going to physically be ready for the game. Because if you're not out there doing the stuff that you're supposed to be doing during the game, like actually having a real game type atmosphere, taking a couple of hits every now and then.
You're setting yourself up.
Exactly. And you're not, I think they only practice in pads now once a week. So how's your body going to get ready to toting the pads around and doing all the other stuff that you've got to do? The adrenaline that's a part of, like, I know I'm about to get hit right now. I need to be able to move my body a certain way. And I don't know if that's necessarily practice, but it really feels like it's something that kind of translates to the lack of practice.
It's like being in the Army and you're not allowed to train wearing a fully loaded backpack.
Yeah. Like if you can't do a ruck up hills with a backpack on training, guess what's going to happen whenever you get over to Afghanistan or somewhere like that? It's not, your body's not going to physically be ready for any of that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I'm resending the link to Coach Contreras.
Absolutely, no worries.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you have to be more than ready. You have to be, because the thing is that it's nice to have the protective helmets and all that with the padding on it, but that's not real life, okay? For these people that are absolutely stunned that there's so many injuries, or that, it's such a brutally tough game and we're trying to make it safer. I keep saying this all the time, Tim. This is what I always say. You would never make a barbaric sport safe, ever. It's either I'm going to outlaw it or I'm going to be okay with the fact that people's lives are unfortunately going to be ruined, cut short, because we love that damn sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
And I think that's the thing, right? It's like now you got to realize that the injuries are going to be more prevalent in the game. For us as like fantasy football owners and stuff like that, we hate it. I can only imagine what like the teams have to deal with. Let's not forget about the amount of Achilles that MetLife Field took last year whenever teams were playing over there, and it just seems like it was a graveyard for people getting injured. But let's talk about one of the teams that plays in MetLife Stadium, and they had their home opener here on Thursday. That is the New York Jets. They get a win at home. They look overwhelming at times. That running game they have is looking good with Breece Hall, with Braylon Allen as well. And then you've got at quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And Brandon, I don't know how you feel about what Aaron Rodgers has done over his career. You already know me. I don't think he should be ever considered the greatest of all time. Talented-wise, super talented quarterback. Who knows what the future holds as far as like greatest of all time. But I got a stat the other day, Brandon, that was Aaron Rodgers has thrown for over 429 touchdown passes. And the touchdown pass that he threw on Thursday to Garrett Wilson was the first time in his career that he threw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver that was drafted in the first round.
Wow.
The first time in his career.
That's crazy, man.
At over 400 touchdown passes. Yeah, and again, like with all the stats that surround Aaron Rodgers and everything that he's doing, it's one of those things where like you got to think about, okay, what can the New York Jets beat? Obviously, they beat the Patriots. Everyone this year is going to be beating up on the Patriots. They're not a good enough team for any of the stuff that it is that we're used to seeing from the Patriots. But what do you think the ceiling is for the New York Jets this year? Because now that you've got Tua being injured, now that you've got the Patriots being as bad as they are, the only obstacle in your way is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and they are once again, as I've said a bunch of times, the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC.
Well, I mean, I think, and this is again just an observation. I think they look pretty good so far, and I say that they came back and won at Tennessee, and then they beat a team that really you should have beat, but it's a divisional game, so it's an important game, and I think they look decent. I think that Rodgers is, considering that he didn't play at all last year, considering he hasn't played in a while, it's very sparingly. I think they're starting to kind of get a little mojo going. I like the way he and his head coach are handling things, and I agree. And they have that kid, that Allen kid, that looks just as capable at times as Breeze. So they have a two-headed monster, which sucks for fantasy. But anyways, always something, right? But and he's got the Conklin looked good. The tight end had a bunch of catches for 100 yards. Defensively, they're strong. They're a good defense. That's one of the best defenses in the NFL. Rodgers looked like Rodgers, and that's the thing. If Rodgers looks like Rodgers, the Jets are a Super Bowl contender.
And the thing is I don't even think that Rodgers needs to be Rodgers of old. He can just be game manager Aaron Rodgers, and that's still a very, very tremendous team that they've built around him. And it's crazy to say this, like, that's one of the more talented teams that he's ever had, and like we'll try to figure out what happens with him going forward this year, because I feel like, and maybe it's just me nitpicking, but in order for him to be considered, one of the all-time greats, you can't just have one Super Bowl win on your resume, nor can you be the guy that, blew up the Green Bay Packers saying, this isn't a team that could win without me. This team has zero talent. And then once again, they make it to the NFC Championship game, almost beat San Francisco with Jordan Love as their quarterback. It wasn't a lack of talent that was around Aaron Rodgers. What you got, Dave?
Yeah, tell us. I'm in suspense.
Oh, okay. you did. Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm waiting for your.
Okay.
Your
So
argument.
to me, whenever you look at everything that Aaron Rodgers has that's surrounding him, I think now when you look at what he's got, the expectation has to be a deep playoff run with this team. And if he doesn't make a deep playoff run with this team, what does that say about who he is as the leader of this team? Because we've seen him take team after team after team to an NFC Championship game and not get over that hump since 2010.
Sure.
It's been 14 years.
It's a long time.
And if you look at his overall playoff record, it's almost 500.
Yeah.
It ain't a great look for the guy. So now we've got to sit back and think about it. What is the legacy of Aaron Rodgers going to be at the end of it?
Well, I mean, it's to continue at this point. He still has some gas left in the tank, and let's see what he does with the Jets. But let's assume he never wins another Super Bowl, and maybe he gets them to an AFC Championship game. Maybe he doesn't. I still would put Aaron Rodgers among the elite and the best ever, just simply because of the fact that you have won a Super Bowl. Okay, so that puts you among the best, and we've seen a lot of great quarterbacks maybe able to win one or never any at all. So I mean, I still think it goes without saying that in this era he's one of the top quarterbacks we've ever seen, and I understand the blunders in the playoffs and the lack of being able to get back ever, which is crazy to think that it hasn't happened yet. But I still feel that on paper, if you give me a guy, you say you got 2 minutes to go, who could you take? He's going to be one of the guys I'm choosing. You know what I mean? He's
especially in like today's NFL.
And he looks great for an old man in this game. I mean, he just come off an Achilles, right? He looked great on Thursday night. He looked not bad. He really didn't look bad at all. I'm just saying.
But against the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shitty team. We'll see how he does against a better opponent. But the win at Tennessee was a quality win. I don't think Tennessee is amazing, but that was a good win.
And I think that's I can make the jokes about it's New England and the Patriots all they want, but the fact of the matter is you got to win the games that are on your schedule, and if they're able to win the games and become a higher seed, hosting a playoff game in New York
could be huge.
Would create such a different home field advantage for them that I don't think that they've ever had as a New York Jets team.
No.
And we're talking about a team that, once again, about 14 years ago, made back-to-back AFC title runs.
I remember, and this is a very winnable division. Miami is not quarterbackless now. Buffalo's going to be good. Buffalo, I think, is going to be real good, more so than people thought. I mean, I think their defense is solid. Allen's being Allen. They have receivers. They have a great running back. So that's your biggest competition in the East. Obviously, New England's garbage. But I feel that if I look at it this year, and I look at it so far, sure, Kansas City's Kansas City. I'm never counting them out. But they don't, without Pacheco, they're going to struggle a little bit in running back and so on, and we'll see what they do. But I feel that the AFC is a little more wide open this year, potentially, and that's why I give the Jets an opportunity, or even Buffalo.
And now we're looking at the AFC looking like it's a little more wide open, especially because that Pacheco injury You know me. I love me some Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, me too.
I love the fact that they've got a receiver in Rashee Rice. You know, they're starting to build up the team over there. But Pacheco seems to be the heart of that team. That kind of, you know,
8 weeks.
establishes. Yeah.
We'll see what Steele does. They brought Hunt back. You know, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
But my question now is, okay, now we know the AFC's over. I think with the injuries to Christian McCaffrey, and it's always an injury to Christian McCaffrey. It's
Just a matter of time.
He was born, got spanked by the doctor, went on the IR, right? Like that's the way the guy
You
was.
think in more than 4 weeks?
Even if it's not, it's going to linger because it's football. You know what I mean? And
he could be out half the year or more.
yeah,
Who knows?
and
you know,
the thing is let's hope that it's only now if you're a 49ers fan, because if it comes back at the end of the season, yeah, and
you're done.
And yeah, they've got, you know, decent running back, but you cannot replace.
Mason. I do like Mason.
You cannot replace Christian McCaffrey.
No, because of his pass catching ability.
Yes.
He's the most diverse running back in the NFL. But yeah, okay, so I get what you're saying right now. Yes, the NFC to me is also wide open, and I'm going to say that with great confidence. You know, unfortunately, I don't know if the Cowboys have a damn friggin' shot, but I mean, you know, it just seems like there is more competition, and because of the past several years, it's been San Francisco and everybody else. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know 100% what you mean, Brandon. And right now, we are over here at Thorin's Tavern, 3390 Rich Beem, 3390 Rich Beem on the far east side of El Paso. They've got great specials. We'll talk about those specials going up. But I wanted to bring it back home, Brandon, because we are now going to be joined by our guest, head coach Rudy Contreras here on Fire and Ice. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Congratulations on the season that you guys are having. First off, what was the expectation for y'all coming into this season, and do you feel like you've lived up to it thus far?
Well, thus far we have. First of all, thank you guys for having me on. Appreciate you guys. But, you know, at the start of every season, of course, our goals are to go undefeated during the season and get home field advantage, get that home game in the playoffs, and hopefully make a playoff run. So, you know, we were hoping to be 4-0 right now. We're 3-0. We lost that first game, not being able to play against Mount Wood with the lightning delay and all that, of course. But really happy with the way our guys have responded, and really just tough games on the road so far, and they've come out and played really tough.
Coach, you guys played last night at King and Teal, which is a brutally tough place to play overall on the Smurf turf. It was supposed to be an incredible game. You guys handed King and Teal them. I mean, you really did. Fetty, an amazing game last night. I mean, I just was looking at some of the stats. I think he threw like a 50-yard ball and ran for like a 40-yard touchdown. I saw him a couple weeks ago when I saw you on the field. This kid's special, man. I mean, talk about Fetty and talk about that big win last night.
Well, it started off in the first quarter, right? That first drive, I think he fumbled the ball on our second play of the game. And then our defense came out in the red zone and had a goal line stand. And then from there, we bounced back and went 98 yards and we scored. So that just kind of tells you where this team is at and what we're capable of doing, and just the character of our guys right now. We could have fallen apart right then and there, but we didn't. You know, we rallied together and we had a 98 drive. And I think he finished with 234 yards, you know, a touchdown in the air and some big third down conversions. And it wasn't easy because that kind of field defense is tough. But you know what? Our guys came out and played extremely well on both sides of the ball. And defensively, we had a lot to prove last night, and they came out and did exactly that.
So we know that offensively, the quarterback is always going to get the love, right? Like that's the guy, the face of the franchise, basically. Let's talk about that defense, because you guys got some defensive studs over there as well. Who are some of the players on that side of the ball that you want to give a little bit of love to?
Well, you know what? Our linebacker, the whole defensive unit went out and played really well, but our linebacking core just played lights out. I think I'm going to run down some stats right now for you guys. Let's start with Mateo Santibanez. I want to say he had about 17 tackles, 16 tackles. Max Giron, 17 tackles, and Aldo Rios, 12 tackles. And that's just our linebacking core. So that just tells you those guys are flying around. And like I said, our defense as a unit wanted to go out there and make a statement, and they did exactly that. They had some big-time plays against us. Lalo's an incredible player over there. Man, that kid played the whole game. But he had some big plays on us. But you know what? These guys buckled down, and it was kind of similar to that Franklin game, right, on the road and hostile environment, and we want to go out there and show what we could do, and we did exactly that. So I'm really proud of our guys.
You guys seem to just somehow continuously, I would say, like, always have an amazing quarterback. I mean, you know, you and I have known each other a long time, Rudy, and you know, it's like, hey, oh well, we graduate the Montes kid and the other Montes kid, and now we have Fetty. What is it, you know, to where you continuously always are able to have those intricate parts of your offense and some of the best quarterbacks we've really ever seen in this town?
We've had quite a few. You go back to it before Jake Fetty. We had Jesse Ramos, who had an outstanding career, and you can just go down the line to the Steven Montes, the Raymond Montes. We've had quite a few quarterbacks come out here and just play lights out. But it's just the tradition they want to continue here when they get here. They get here. It's a lot of work for these guys. It really, really is. We put a lot on their plates. But our quarterback coaches, starting with Coach Montes, who's been here for a long time, and then an up and coming new coach, Coach Johnny Vaz, who's done an extraordinary job with our young quarterbacks. They really work and mold them, and it's a lot of off season grind. It's a lot of the details that go into playing the position. We got to trust you first of all, so you got to be a good student in the building. Because we're giving you the keys to the car. So you got to be able to handle that, and we've been blessed and lucky to have some upcoming quarterbacks. Here at Del Valle High School. We have another one that's going to do really good after Jake Fetty too. So we're really excited about our future here.
There's been a tradition of just great quarterback play, like Brandon has mentioned, but not just that, of just great teams that have came out of Del Valle. Obviously, some great coaching going on with yourself, former coach Parales as well. How important is it to make sure that all the kids know what the expectation is from you all as the coaches, so that way they play their best under you?
Well, here at Del Valle, I think our favorite saying is there's no me at DV, it's about we at DV. And it's not just myself here. We have 13 coaches that are good coaches, but most importantly, they're great men. And our kids see that, and our kids can feel that, and really understand where they're coming from. And it's just tradition, and it starts in the off season. It didn't start a couple of weeks ago or in June, or in July. It started in the off season. It started in January. And that's where the hard work is, and it's not fun. It's not fun because you're not out there playing on a Friday night, and you don't have those bright lights on you. It's just nothing but grind and work and commitment. And these guys understand that, and our coaching staff understands that, and it's just a blessed environment to be around. We have great administration here at Del Valle High School. A lot of people that support Del Valle football, so it's a great place to be.
And you have a tremendous work ethic too, Coach. I mean, you guys are obviously usually one of the top few teams in the city. Talk about how hard it is to consistently be that good and to continue to promote the program and bring in the best of the best, and of course, make runs in the playoffs.
Well, it's not easy. It's always easy to go from the bottom to the top, but it's hard to stay at the top. And we told our guys that everybody's going to be pulling at us, but it all starts in that locker room. These guys got to believe in one another, and they got to understand that it's us against everybody. Once the season starts, it's us against everybody. Is it always great throughout the whole year? No, there's adversity. That we go through adversity on the field, off the field. But when it comes down to it, these guys understanding that they got to play hard for one another. Our coaches understanding that it's about the team, not just about one position or one side of the ball. We take pride in that. Always figuring out how to have a team victory. We got to have our offense complement our defense, and then we take pride in our special teams. We take pride in our special teams, and it's a special group of kids that go out there and play hard during those units. But like I said, it's in that locker room. It all starts in that locker room. These kids believing in one another and understanding they got to play hard for one another. And our coaches are really getting after it and putting together some great game plans. And at the end of the day, guys, it's about these kids going out there and executing. And they did that, for example, yesterday. They went out there and they played really hard for one another. It's a roller coaster. You have your ups and downs during 4 quarters of football. But to stay with it, to stay playing for one another, that's big time. And our guys did that yesterday.
You guys are already in district play. You got two wins so far. You got Jefferson coming up next. What can we expect to see from y'all? And then who are you highlighting on Jefferson? Is like, we've got to make sure we stop this group of kids.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. We're still breaking Jefferson down. It was a big win yesterday, but like any big win or any loss, you move on from it. And that's what we're doing right now. But, it's homecoming week for us. It's a great week because we have a lot of alum that come back and especially this year that really want to come and see what our kids are doing and seeing how much fun they are to see in person. So we're really excited about that. Really come out here and just play hard for our community and everybody that supports us. And like I tell these guys every week, it's not about who we play, but it's about how we play. If we can take care of Del Valle football, we'll be okay.
Coach, I got to ask you, let's say someone's starting a program here in El Paso or anywhere. What kind of advice do you give them to not only continue to bring the best of the best, but maintain consistency, which is really the hardest thing to do overall?
That's it right there, Brandon. It's consistency. That's the hardest part about this, is the consistency. It's always great when you're winning games, but we've been a part of it where we haven't won some games. People tend to forget. But my first year when I took over, we went 0-3.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, we stuck together. Our kids stuck together. Our coaching staff stuck together. So you got to be able to ride those highs and those lows, and stay consistent, and keep that baseline there. So these kids know what it is. But you know what? Just believing in one another, and establishing a culture where it's really family. And it's really us against everybody. That's really the advice I can give. It's great to have everything in social media, putting everything out there, but at the end of the day, it's about the locker room. And if those coaches and those kids believe in one another, then you're heading in the right direction.
How important is it for you to teach the students and teach because they are students, teach these athletes that everything they see on social media isn't necessarily what they need to be paying attention to? Because as we know now, I think all three of us being educators, it's a world that seems like it's based in nothing but social media, weird accounts that are getting made to kind of troll on each other. How hard is it for you to be like, you know what, guys, that's not what's important. What's important is the game and what we do on the field.
It's very hard. It's very hard because when social media started a couple of years ago, a while back, it was a couple of outlets that would put something. Not now, it's everywhere, guys, and it's hard to control everything. It really is. But we really stressed it in the offseason. Going back to the offseason, I said, look, guys, there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of hype on us. But it's tunnel vision from here on out. It's tunnel vision. We got to block all the noise, and as hard as it is, we got to understand that for the next year, it's just about us believing in one another, not about what anybody else is saying. And it's going to be hard because people are going to want to come at you. People are going to want to start tugging at you at different angles. They're going to want to get in our locker room. They're going to want to get in our ears with social media and stuff like that, in our heads. But the hardest part about it is just really stressing it and going back to consistency, right? Just being consistent with your values and with your culture and your rules and your guidelines and all that. But to answer your question, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, but that's when our coaching staff comes in, and our senior leaders, it just believing in what we're doing and understanding what we're trying to preach. Blocking the noise. We can say it all we want, television all we want, but it really comes down to our kids believing in that and them understanding that. And so far they have. There's been a lot of hype on us, but I'm not saying we're the elite program in the nation, but there's hype on us every year. But the thing is, you got to block the noise out, whether it's good or bad, and just continue to stay down that road. And so far, we have done that.
And done it very, very well. I'll tell you what, Coach, I always enjoy seeing you. When I saw you a couple weeks ago, I said, you know what? It's like old home week. I see my buddy Rudy. I see Coach Montes. I got to ask Coach Contreras if you'll finally come on. And it's been real nice having you on today and hear about the Superior program you have, Coach.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on and giving me the opportunity to talk about our boys and Valle football.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach. Brandon, what I would like you to do now, sir, if you don't mind, is let us know what's been going on in the world around the football programs we got here. There's a big win that I was happy about yesterday. So go ahead and let us know some of the scores.
Week 4, a month into the season. So on Thursday the 19th, it was Franklin over Americas 51-17. Then last night we had Fort Hancock being blanked by Sanderson 52-0. Marvel 54-0 over Sierra Blanca. Cathedral, they lose their first game of the year to Socorro. Oh my God, Socorro 2 in a row. Are you kidding? What's going on? 37-19. Anthony over Van Horn 36-30. It was Hanks 42-21 over the Horizon Scorpions. My beloved Coronado Thunderbirds now undefeated on the year 3-0, 30-10 over Packland. And of course, it was Del Valle 31-14 over Canutillo. Chapin, a game I covered, won 54-8 over Andrews. Chapin's for real. Tell you what, they have that Devion Singleton got 6 Division I offers so far. I see why. One of the best two-way players in the city. It was Bel Air and Big Spring 40-21 over the Highlanders. Riverside 56-34 over the Urban Rockets. It was Burgess 41-12 over La Jeff. Midland 69-13 over the Mountwood Rams. Clint 29-19 over Bowie. Isleta now undefeated, 40-14 over Mountain View. Cleveland, Rio Rancho Cleveland, and they're in New Mexico, 42-27 over Pebble Hills. Fabens, 42-7 over San Eli. Oh my goodness. El Dorado, 55-54 over Eastwood. Coach Lopez, gotta love the guy, gambles like it's going out of style, went for 2 at the end, didn't make it, and your team is 4-0. Unfreaking believable. They're for real, apparently. You can speak firsthand about that. Oregon Mountain, 18-10 over Alamogordo. Rio Rancho, 26-21 over Eastlake. Gadsden and Artesia 57-34 over Gadsden. And then finally, I'll mention this, Las Cruces 44-14 over Hobbs, and Mainfield 52-6 over Santa Teresa. That's your week 4 high school football scores there.
One of the things, Brandon, that I've been super excited about, and it feels like, for me, I've been just spoiled these last couple of weeks. We got Socorro High School getting 2 wins, the first time getting back-to-back wins since that COVID season. Both the wins they had in that COVID season were forfeit wins, so I don't know how we go those ones. But the fact of the matter is, they've got back-to-back wins and a 2-win season for the first time since 2020.
Wow.
Right. So we're going on 4 wins. The win that they had last week against Bel Air was their first win since 2021. And you know me, I'm the type, I embrace whenever a team is bad. My Bulldogs, they were bad for so long. I was looking at the schedule trying to see when in the 2010s they had a multiple win season, and they were very, very far between. But I'm looking at this team now, and I just love what we're seeing right now, right? Because now you're seeing a team, because whenever you have that long history of mediocrity, of losing, of having to deal with all that, there becomes the complacency of, this is just what we're going to be.
Right.
And we're watching that team in real time now kind of shake that off. Yes, it might be the only 2 wins of the season, but that's a 200% increase on wins from last year.
The Cathedral win was a big win because Cathedral was undefeated, and that's a good quality win. Any win's a win. I mean, I don't care who the hell you beat, but the point is that you got to take care of business. Like you said, you can't pick your schedule. And, Dorado, man, they're for real. I mean, you guys got a ton of weapons, and you've been covering them every week. And, look, it's no fluke to win against Eastwood like that. Eastwood's very, very good. They're one of the top in the city. But to me, in my rankings now, I'm moving El Dorado in top 3. Top 4.
That was going to be my question prior to coming in this week. And I know it was fuel for a lot of the kids, and me being in the position that I'm in, I'm always the type that says, you know what, guys, it doesn't matter where they rank you at. You play for yourself. You don't play for that ranking. You just go out and you do your thing, right? But hearing the fact that this team was undefeated, is still undefeated, and was ranked at number 7, I think is what it was, and they were so mad about that. It's like, guys, it's just an arbitrary number.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But this win against Eastwood, because Eastwood's a good team, even with this loss, because and it's one of those games of whenever the final score is 55-54, it's a shame somebody had to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those games, a seesaw battle, the game that's going to come down to the final possession. And you know what? You were on the right side of that final possession. You took care of business. And those are the kind of games that if you could win those games, they'll define your program. And, hey, congratulations to them.
And this is the thing that I've noticed with this team is that, it's a total buy-in. The Empire, they're doing their thing. And there's such senior leadership on this team. And then I look at the talent in the underclassmen. And I think to myself, okay, this could be something that gets sustained for the next couple of years for El Dorado. So I think, the ceiling seems to be kind of moving up. They're on that upward trajectory. I want to give a little bit of love to a couple of the students that I have as well. David Martinez leading the team in sacks. Also, I told you last week, a defensive player that's already scored 4 touchdowns on a season. Right. It is insane to see a guy that's strictly on defense, getting defensive touchdowns the way that he's been doing it. The defense, I know they gave him 54 points yesterday, which is a weird thing to say. Yeah, defense plays really good. Yeah. Eastwood's a really damn good team. But to see them competing the way that they are at Ray Estrada as well. He's averaging 200 yards a game on average as a running back. And it's great to see, the offensive line is doing their job. The whole team right now is clicking on all cylinders. They have homecoming coming up this week. It's going to be at SAC 2 against Bel Air. And I'd love to see, if you haven't seen El Dorado, go on out there, check them out, because that team is doing some amazing things.
Yeah, I mean, again, the proof is in the pudding. But no, I mean, the huge win, dude, huge. I mean, very impressive. And again, again, you're talking about. I'll give Coronado a lot of props. 3-0. They beat Parkland. They're going to be a big player in 6A. We had Coach Bryan last week. Really looking forward to seeing what that team does this year as the year progresses. So, good football, man.
What about your Austin team?
Austin had a bye week, but I will say they are 2-1. They had a big win in Mountain View last week. I got a kid, Rodriguez. He's a running back. He's like tight end running back. He had like a 70-yard touchdown last week, and I was very proud of him. I love when I see the kids. Castaneda Joel, he's a DB and running back. Great kid. I love all the kids are wonderful, and I talk to them just like you when they're in your class. Next week, though, homecoming for them. One of the games of the year besides Bowie, hosting Isleta. And that's going to be extremely tough because Isleta now in 4A. And that's going to make that a more difficult district to win because they're there.
And you seem to have really good luck with kids. The last name Rodriguez, I go to Austin.
Yeah, Will DeVise Rodriguez. Yeah, I do. It's kind of crazy, right? I love it, man. I got another Rodriguez, too, in my own class. He's a star, too. Good kid.
There you go.
Yeah, they're all good kids. Love them all.
Now that we're getting closer to basketball tipping off, how's the Iceman feeling?
Feeling good. We got some scrimmages coming up here in the next few weeks, getting used to doing concessions and schlepping and this and that, and working with the staff. And I got to it wasn't really we were doing a kind of inter squad half court games yesterday, and I actually kind of coached for the first time my freshmen and busting their balls and getting on their case about the little things like not guarding, because it was them against the varsity team. So they were getting their asses handed to them. But long story short, they need competition like that to get ready for the season. And I think we got some great kids, and I'm just kind of learning and observing, and every day is a unique day.
We will be keeping up with you along with all the other basketball programs that are out here in the city of El Paso as well. Showing as much love as we can as we have partnered now with Prep1 as well. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in on Prep1 right now. We appreciate the love and the support that y'all are giving us as we venture on to do this. We want to try to cover El Paso high school sports as best we can. And it's not just going to be football, basketball, the ladies' sports as well. Just trying to get it all covered.
I'll share this with you on the air because it's huge. I talked to our former Austin Panther, Jaden Wilson. You remember him?
Yes.
He's at UNM, having a good season. He's going to come on with us.
There
in
we
the near
go.
future as
There
well.
we go.
So we're working on kids that have played here now, kids that are D1 and all that, and that's what we're doing here with Prep1. So
the next 2 weeks, Fire and Ice will not be live. I'm going to try to pre-record some stuff. That way we can have some stuff that still comes out. Brandon's got a vacation he's taking, and then as soon as he gets back, I'm saying I don't want to see this guy, and I'm going on vacation.
Yeah.
So
you're going to Connecticut. We're going to have to do my birthday grease after we both get back.
Yes.
Because I was thinking about doing it during your session, but you're a busy man. So
now I'm a
But
that's
time off is well deserved.
Yes.
We
Oh, my
we
Lord.
work a lot. We do a lot. You and I. I think we each have 4 jobs. So I'm not kidding. I really wish I was, but I'm not.
David was talking about the retired life right now, and I was thinking to myself, I cannot wait. I think I've got another 25 years before I get there.
I got 14, but it's okay because we'll retire for a minute, then we'll be doing something else. You and
I don't think I would be just like Dave. I would not. I would retire.
We'll be
In quotes.
Yeah. Because we ain't really retiring. We're gonna clean latrines, so we have to keep busy.
Well, I'm not doing that.
Okay, me neither.
No. did that in basic training. I ain't going back to that.
What I said, latrine? That's hilarious. Who says that, right? I learned that from a movie, Biloxi Blues. Anyways, sorry.
That's Brandon the Iceman Cohn and his train of thoughts, everybody. That's the stuff that you guys get from me. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Del Valle for supporting us as well. To all the teams out there that won this past weekend or yesterday, as a matter of fact. Congrats to y'all. It's been absolutely amazing keeping up with this high school football season. We can't wait to see how it goes. We will see y'all live in 3 weeks, I guess, is what it is, question mark, is what it'll be. Maybe we'll do some stuff in between the time, but we'll do that. Everybody, thank you so much. Thorin's Tavern, come on out here, 3390 Rich Beem in the far east side of El Paso, and we'll see y'all later. I was going to say next week, but it's not next week.
Huge.